Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, tmosso@the1916company.com. That's our email. Reach out to us for pricing details about this or any of our watches. Email tmosso@the1916company.com for pricing. In 2010, Bethune launched the DB28. Within a year, the breakthrough model had won the Aigle d'Or, or Best Picture, at the Oscars of Watchmaking. 10 years after the original DB28, we get this, the anniversary model, the DB28XP Starry Sky. It is a trimmer, slimmer DB28, still in grade 5 titanium, 43 millimeters in diameter, but now, as my calipers tell the tale, only 8.7 millimeters thick. We have variable geometry floating lugs that could be as narrow as 50.5 millimeters across and as broad as 54.5 millimeters across. There is a 26 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. We'll throw this watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see it wears nicely. It's a broad watch with a lot of personality and presence, but it's super slim and easily slides underneath a sleeve. Taking a look, you can see that the actual width of the wrist is less of a challenge here because the lugs can change their shape and their width. So I would recommend the watch on these lugs. There are a couple of options, but I would recommend the watch on these lugs for a wrist of 14 centimeters circumference or larger. And then over the top, which always exaggerates the width of the watch, not as big a deal again because the lugs can cinch down to your skin. The strap is broad, as you can see, matte, large rectangular scale, symmetrical scale alligator leather, always the best cut of the material when you combine those features. Monotone stitch, matte finish, dark blue. There is a sheer cut edge. And then on the bottom, calfskin, no crimping, no gouging. You can see that this is a de Bethune factory strap by Jean Rousseau of Paris, which makes wonderful straps for many. And then we have a buckle that is specific to these models. At de Bethune, the buckle always matches the design of the watch. So we have this open and airy buttress-like profile in grade 5 titanium, just like the watch itself. Variable geometry lugs, they move away to reveal the microlight engine turning of the case has created this undulating wave of tightly spaced lines, and that is microlight. It's an engraving form used at de Bethune that's designed to be more modern than, say, Clou de Paris or some sort of rosette guilloche. This is a more modern reductive lathe work. We have a crown up at the top, which is a bullhead winder and a bullhead setter. You may be wondering, it is a screw-down crown to ensure absolute security, since we do have mobile lugs right here. The watch features little ogival or bullet tips on the lug ends, which are the last styling vestige of the original 2002 DB1 chronograph. That was the first de Bethune product. You can see a seamless blending of case and bezel, and then we have this polished bezel that waxes and wanes in different thickness as it moves around the dial. The dial again features that microlight fine engraving with concentric rings radiating out from an imaginary center point above the balance. You can see that the balance bridge has been black polished across its surface, and that the titanium dial has not only been engraved with microlight, but it's been fired to create this lovely blue hue. Blue with little elements of white gold, as all of the stars on the Starry Sky are little dowels of white gold inserted into drillings in the dial. We have rose gold, spade style, skeletonized hands at center. De Bethune making its own dials, cases, and movements, all three in-house. You can see there's a scale outboard for reading the minutes and the hours. This is one of the most restrained and conservative DB28 designs because so little of the mechanism is visible on the dial side. And then we have a balance, which is the 2016 patent balance. Denis Flageolet, the watchmaking lead and co-founder of the brand, creates a new balance every time he improves the breed, and this one features his combination of white gold masses and aerodynamic nacelles in the rim with a fired blue titanium wheel. Reduces aerodynamic drag, maximizes the mass in the rim, and reduces the impact of temperature change on timing. You can see there's a mirrored surface below to maximally reflect the gear, and then there is a silicone escape wheel of Denis' own design to reduce friction. We have a hairspring that's actually two pieces cut from the hairspring alloy, shaped by hand, and then micro-clamped back together so that despite being flat, thin and shock resistant like a flat hairspring. It breathes concentrically like an overcoil. Underneath the case back, which features both microlight and fired blue titanium, we have the caliber 2115V7, manual wind with twin self-adjusting barrels, a patented technology. It has a 4 Hz beat rate, 27 pivot joules, and 6 days of power reserve. So because of the twin self-adjusting barrels, you cannot accidentally overwind this watch. The movement is technically ambitious and protected by no fewer than 4 individual patents, created entirely in-house. The watch with the screw-down crown is water-resistant to 30 meters and feather light on the wrist. If you love this watch, reach out to us. Team Mosso at the 1916company.com.